For over 20 years, I've dedicated my life to bringing you the very best selling, marketing, and business building strategies to keep your business thriving. Get ready to experience the success you've been searching for. Welcome to the Tom Ferry Show. Hey everybody, welcome to the Tom Ferry Show, episode 106. Boy, it's been an exciting month of March. There's no doubt right now that, between the stock market, between the real estate market, housing, everything is on fire right now. And what I'm seeing in all of our conversations, we've talked to tens of thousands of people already this year. This is what we know. The very best are absolutely crushing it right now. And the question is why? So when I talk to all of our amazing coaches, when I'm out doing conferences, when I talk to my other speakers, right? When I talk to my internal team that are, talking to, hundreds, if not sometimes, thousands of people every single day, it's pretty clear as to why the rich are getting richer and others just might be struggling. So either category that you're in, listen, I've got friends that will do $2 million in GCI this year. And you know what they say? They're a part of the struggling category because they know their potential is greater. I've got some that are, maybe you're watching this right now and you're a brand new agent and it just feels overwhelming how much you have to do. By the way, it's the same exact thing. If I'm talking to one of my clients who's a veteran, 35, 40 years in the business, they feel the same way. That overwhelm never goes away because in this business, the second you stop innovating, you're irrelevant. You with me? So you got to let that go and maybe just accept some coaching today. Whether you're totally on fire or you're looking to be on fire, the three things that cause the very best right now to win is this. Number one is clarity. They know exactly what they want. If I called them at 4 o'clock in the morning and said, what's your sales goal for this year? They wouldn't say, oh, well, I want to get a bunch of listings to make it. They would be like, I want to do $2 million in GCI. Ferry, why are you calling me at 4 a.m.? Click. Total clarity. Mission, vision, purpose. They know exactly what they want. If I called you at 2 o'clock in the morning and said, how many listings are you going to take this year? Would you be like, I want to take a lot? If you say a lot, the old Geico commercial, right? The guy walks into the garage, he rubs, I think I talked about this on the show before, like rubs the lamp and the genie pops up and says, I'll give you exactly what you want. He's like, I want $1 million, and he gets $1 million deer. Do you remember that? Like the people that are winning know exactly what they want. I'm not talking law of attraction, woo-woo, that stuff. It's more about the filter, which I'm going to get to. Number two is their psychology is on. And you know what's interesting? Everyone I'm talking to that's winning right now says the same thing. I'm having to spend more time on my psychology because the more you win, the more you break out of your comfort zone and you get into these new areas of fear and anxiety. And am I smart enough? And am I good enough? And am I doing the right things with my money? And am I taking care of everybody? That stuff never goes away, my friends, right? And yet, there may be someone watching this. Maybe this was sent to you by a friend who loves you, and you're watching this like, I don't spend any time on my psychology, and my business sucks. Well, is there a correlation? 1,000%. Yes. The very best, though, spending time on it every day, but this is the one that only the very best are paying attention to. And that is their infrastructure, right? Their business, their systems, the hub of their business. Is it set up in a way that can expand and grow and keep high levels of service, keep great levels of support, and not have you become a slave to your business? So if you want to know the three reasons why the best are crushing it in 2017, it really is that simple. But let me offer you some coaching, right? Coaching's about asking questions. So here's 3 questions that I'd love for you to get a whiteboard out, get on Evernote, and start noodling on. You with me? Question number 1 is, what exactly am I committed to in 2017? What exactly am I committed to in 2017? I was talking to a client a couple weeks ago, Jeff, and he was, telling me about his business, and he's up in the Pacific Northwest. Big shout out, Jeff. And he's telling me, my team, and this is what we're doing, and this is what's going on. And then he's like, but I've got this other thing I'm thinking about, and it's this big other thing. And my response was, okay, first of all, you can't chase 2 rabbits, right? Like every smart entrepreneur will tell you, you got to focus on what it is that you want and you got to go all in on that. Now, That could be your gross income goal. It could be your transaction goal. It could be your savings goal. It could be your volume goal. But whatever it is, you got to go all in. Now, I'm not saying that there isn't key measurements, key performance indicators that fall below that need your attention, but those things all roll up to one thing that you're committed to. I know if we just called like the first 1,000 people that watched this episode and said, what are you committed to? Like that's the response. People aren't winning if they're not clear. You with me? Question number 2, what mindset rituals must be in place? What mindset rituals must be in place? I don't care if you're talking to thought leaders, you're talking to my wife's cousin who's a teacher in New England who will probably never watch this. But see, I asked her, I said, how do you teach the 5th grade for 20 years and still be as passionate as you are? And she said, you know, Tom, I get up in the morning. She's from like Boston, so she's got a heavy like New England accent, which I don't want to screw up. But she said, I get up in the morning, I do some stretching, you know, I read a little bit, I think about my future, I think about my goals, I get grateful. And I'm like, here's a 5th grade school teacher who's doing the same stuff that we talk about every day in the Tom Ferry Show, that we know as salespeople, that if you're not working on your psychology, your mindset, the things you say to yourself about yourself and other people, your gratitude for just being alive right now in 2017 with the abundance and the opportunity, the fact that you're probably watching this on a device like this, you with me? Like, shut up if you're negative. Shut up if you think your life doesn't completely rock. Travel to somewhere else around the planet where people are living on $1 a day and you're complaining because you're making $80,000 a year. I want to punch you in the throat. You with me on this? But here's the deal. The very best, I know it was a little rant. I don't really want to punch you in the throat, but you know what I mean, right? Don't you want to punch people in the throat that are complaining when they're living in abundance and opportunity and like the acres of diamonds are everywhere and they just refuse to even look down at the opportunity? Don't you want to just punch those people right in the throat? The very best people have a ritual. The very best people say, I do this and this and this every single day. And that's why, my friends, not on the days where they need to, it's on the days that they don't need to that give them the strength to persevere during the hard times. Does that make sense? That's why the best people are crushing. And then number 3 is, what systemic change is required to sustain the new levels of growth? I had a wonderful conversation with Howard, Jeff, and Marie, some great agents from New York City. And, you know, they took a little coaching at the end of November last year, gave them a few assignments, and all of a sudden these 3 are just on fire. So big shout out to those 3 and Brandon on their team for just implementing, just being in action. Well, guess what? Now all of a sudden they're saying, we've always been doing X, we're now on pace for Y, but they're feeling the stress and tension of more pitches, more listings, more opportunity, more deals. They feel like their service level is dropping. They feel like things are, you know, starting to fall through the cracks. I don't know if you've ever been there before, have you? I think every one of us has been there before. The reason why the very best are killing it right now is they're building infrastructure every single day, right? They're constantly improving upon what is my pre-list package? What is when I take a listing, how do I execute it? They're constantly looking at when a buyer comes in, what are the steps we take them through? How do we make sure that we're managing multiple escrows or pendings in a beautiful way? Is there a new piece of technology? Is there a new back end? Is there a new checklist? Is there a new service or a solution? We're always looking for ways to manage the new sustainable levels of growth. What happens when you have a big boost in your performance, but your operating system is here? What happens? Your operating system doesn't magically improve to, I've always done 10 deals, now I'm doing 30, and it just automatically improves. No, it stays at 10 deals, and what happens is you end up working 160 hours a week. You are doing searches at midnight for buyers because your operating system, your infrastructure, the way you run your business is still at 10 transactions a year. And the reason why these men and women all over the world are killing it is because they're spending time every week working on the business, building the infrastructure to support the growth that they want. Now, I know you're saying, it's the middle of March, or maybe by the time you're watching it, it's the end of March, and I've got so much going on, and the spring selling season is here, and oh my, Hey, that's the game. That's the game. It's being in business. You're an entrepreneur. This is the way it works. If anybody told you, oh, you're going to be fine in real estate because you're a nice person and you like houses, that person was lying to you. There is 26 million businesses just in the US, 26 million. And guess what? Less than 4% of all businesses make $1 million a year. The rest are in that rat race struggle because they're not understanding this. They're not asking themselves these questions and then creating new behaviors, new grooves that over time create the kind of lasting success that they desire. You with me on this? It's not just you and I in our business. It's the guy that owns the small, dog walking business. Dog walking business? That actually happens a lot, right? That's a new business and been around for a while. Or, the gal that's, selling a makeup solution. You with me? It's every one of us together. And the difference is, right, you and I, we do this kind of training. So we're working on it every single day. Could you imagine if you weren't plugged into this stuff? Imagine what those people are doing. Youch! So here's my coaching. Get it up in visual. Exactly what you want. The biggest reason why is you need a filter. Look, we all get, 50, 60, 70, 80 messages every single day. You watch a show like this and you say, oh my God, this is awesome. And you watch something else, and then you read something else, then you turn on the television, and then you meet with a friend, and there's a mastermind group, and then there's a training, and then I make a phone call and I have an idea and inspiration, and all of a sudden, right? We just pop. See, I don't pop. And I'm able to absorb a lot of information. I have a big capacity for people and for ideas. And my only saving grace is I've got a filter. I'm like, that's a totally awesome idea. I'm going to write it down. I'm going to capture it in Evernote, and I'm going to put it over there because it has nothing to do with my goals in 2017. I honor you. Thank you for sharing that. That's totally awesome. Save that, file it away in Evernote. Got it forever. Can maybe look at it sometime in the future. But right now, this is my mission. This is what I'm focusing on. For me, it's easy. My client's success, my team members' success, my coach's success. That's it. That's my mission. Does that make sense? So you can take all these ideas in, but the question is it going to get you to the GCI, the transactions, the volume, and the savings you want? Make sense? You've got to have that filter up. So it's got to be up in visual and constantly reminding yourself of that. Number 2, mindset rituals. Look, you got to get it into your schedule. And for the vast majority of you, what you really need to do is you got to create more accountability around it, right? I mentioned in old shows where, friends of mine, we would do affirmations at 5 o'clock in the morning. That's an accountability, right? So when you create the accountability around the mindset rituals, it becomes fun, you ingrain it. Remember, you align your behaviors, and all of a sudden, you're just that gal. That gal or that guy that walks into a setting and you just light up the room because you've done so much to get your own personal psychology right that you can shift the energy of a room because you walk in and you're like, let's go, baby. And they're like, we're in the middle of this huge problem and we're not sure what to do, or we just lost a deal. And you're like, all right, cool. What's the solution? What's the lesson? What do we got to do, right? You keep that ritual in place, my friends, and not just today, but I'll get a message from you 10 years, from now, and God only knows what kind of device, right? You'll probably just think it, and it'll just be implanted in my head 10 years from now. Thank you, Tom Ferry. 10 years ago, I watched this show, and I created some accountability around the mindset ritual of reading books and doing affirmations and getting grateful and doing my exercise and all the things we know we should do. And bam, look where I'm at today. You know what I'll send it right back to you and say, I'm proud of you. Good job. The last one is, and this is the big one, what systemic change is required? You got to restart your do, doing, and done board, or your Trello, right? I love Trello as well. I'm a big fan of up and visual, right? So if you're also as mobile as I am, Trello is a free solution where you can do the same exact thing. It's a project management tool, used a beautiful piece of software. But my old mentor, Mike Vance, taught us the do, doing, and done board. Here's the things I want to do, here's the things that I'm doing, and here's the things that I'm done, so I can celebrate the completion of the projects. You with me on this? So I'm going to put up all the things I need to do to make sure my infrastructure is right. Improving my listing presentation, improving my post-transaction follow-up campaign, improving my marketing to my database as an example, right? These could all be on the do list. And then you pick 2 or 3 a month to implement on the doing. You with me? No more than 2 to 3 projects a month. And then you space it out over time and you prioritize and schedule what matters most. I know the stuff you're going to want to prioritize first is maybe revenue generation. But if you've got revenue generation down, maybe it's customer service. The thing I would stress to you is don't prioritize based upon panicking. You with me on this? Like, oh my God, we just lost a listing, therefore we're gonna spend all of our time there. That may not be, like that's probably the effect. Look for the cause of why you lost the listing. That's the most important thing. Look for the cause that this change here will impact everything. Does that make sense? Think about it more like that. So we want to prioritize, we want to schedule, we want to delegate the things that you're not good at. Like you're never going to have Tom Ferry doing data entry as an example, because it wouldn't look like this. It would look more like that, right? So you want to delegate, hire a VA, go to any one of the sites where you can hire these people, these outsourced solutions. Ask for help for the people around you. Get your 15-year-old daughter who can write perfect, beautiful notes to start writing stuff for you. Like, be more resourceful. Delegate and empower. And that's how you win, my friends. So let's wrap it up. Clarity, psychology, and infrastructure. That's it. The first quarter is going to be over in a couple days, couple weeks, right? Depending on when you're watching this show. And just like that, the spring selling season is here. And the question is, do you know exactly what you want from it? Is your mindset ready for maybe working with a buyer who you've got to write 5 or 6 offers up against 15 or 20? Is your mindset ready for that? Is your mindset ready for having those conversations? Is your mindset ready for the seller that's not certain about putting their home on the market because they don't know where they're going next, right? Is your mindset ready for all that? And as you suddenly take more listings and make more sales and have this new level of success, is your business like this, but your infrastructure is here? We always know what happens. It collapses back down to the hub that you built. We should link up the systems manual as a gift on this page. Probably a good idea for them to go through and read it and find the 2-3 areas they need to have the most impact in your business. So I know I covered a lot of ground. I'm kind of fired up right now. Look forward to talking to you the next week. Remember always, your strategy matters now more than ever. Your passion rules. And I want to see some comments down below, whether it's on Facebook or on my page or in social. Let me know of the 3, which did you most need to focus on? Thanks again. Hey, thanks so much for watching. We have a number of events coming up and we'd love to have you there. Visit tomferry.com/events and reserve your spot today.